live inside Kingford Smith Park, Ballina, New South Wales. This is round 8 of the Ladbrokes NRRRL competition, proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Download the app today at either your Android or iPhone stores, or head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all your betting information. Gamble responsibly. Dwayne Neville here on a massive packed day of the Battle of the Beaches. Carney versus Lion, Ballina versus Byron. Trust you during the coverage wherever you may be watching, and I'm once again joined by none other than Nathan Cross, who is a former Bombay Red Devils coach.
G'day Dwayne, and good afternoon to everybody out there watching via our live stream. Mate, what an afternoon this is. I rolled in here this afternoon expecting to have a big crowd, but this is fantastic. Couldn't get a park for miles away. Bumper crowd in on Yobbo's Hill. Grandstand's full. There's plenty of atmosphere around it, mate. It's got a real semi-final, grand final feel about it here today.
And if you look over the other side there at Yobbo's Hill, it is absolutely packed here. River Street is full of parking, and of course for the two, as you can see there in the centre there, Jamie Lyon and Todd Carney having the coin toss, and Josh Golan is the referee for this one.
And how good's this, Dwayne, for country rugby league? We've got Todd Carney, former Rooster, former Raider out there, and of course Jamie Lyon, former Manly great, Parramatta Eels, and of course St Helens. So this is fantastic for country footy. It goes to show what two very high-profile players can do, bringing numbers in through the gates, which is just fantastic.
And with that being said, well, let's give you the tale of tape between the two teams of the Battle of the Beaches for round 8 of action of the NRRRL. Only one addition from last week's squad for the Ballina Seagulls. Chad Norfolk comes into the side after a 38-6 victory over the Tweed Coast Raiders. They're paired in the partners with the backline of Oliver Regan, Cal Schiefer, Liam Anderson and Reece Richards. Of course, Jamie Lyon is the captain, paired in the halves with Jess Perry. In the engine room, we have Philip Crosby, Michael Dwayne and Nicholas Ritter. And in the back line is Anthony Coleman, Jack Durheim and Hayden Hansen. Daniel Johnson, Jordan Lee and Andrew Bartek are on the bench. And who do we need to know for the Bombay Red Devils, Crossy?
The Red Devils will line up today as we get underway here. Brad Lees is the fullback, Connor Wilson on one wing and Gabe Belcher on the other. The centre pairing is a strong one, Dan Gibson and Scotty Stapleton. The halves, Todd Carney and Ben Crawford. And up front we have Ben Malloy and Lachlan Kennedy. The ever-present Andrew Batiste will be at hooker, and the back row of Matty Gallagher, Kyle Kennedy and Dylan Montgomery. Kane Montgomery. Dylan Montgomery's off the bench with Abe Crawford, Kyan Roberts-Laurie and Guy Hines. And we are underway with the first tackle. Let's go.
So Byron Bay, they're running left to right on your screen. The two players to look out for in this match, of course, are the two number 9s, Michael Dwayne for Ballina and, of course, returning for the first time in Byron Bay Red Devils colours, Andrew Batiste. And as you can just see there on the screen, Crossy, you can hear the crowd, the clubhouse behind us, letting Andrew Batiste know that he was once welcome here, but now he's definitely on the opposition side.
I just looked to my left, Dwayne, just as that happened. I didn't quite see, but obviously he's come up with an error there, Batiste, which is a shame. For those viewing at the moment, plenty of sunshine on your screen and a rainbow further out to sea. However, we did have a bit of rain just after that reserve grade game. So that ball with a bit of humidity and a bit of downpour may be a bit slippery.
So Ballina coming into this one after a 38-6 win over their grand final opponents from last year, the Tweed Coast Raiders, 6-1. And it's already starting to fire up there. So that is Michael Dwayne. And to the left of us here are the travelling Byron Bay Red Devils supporters. And so it's already living up to the expectation of being a niggling contest thus far, Crossy.
Isn't it ever? And really good showing from the Bay. Some good numbers through the gates to support their team. And it was an outstanding shot from Lachlan Kennedy. He's a big man, Kennedy, and Michael Dwayne's a very powerful player. And probably, Dwayne, one of your favourite players. So you wouldn't have been happy with that one.
So this would now be Batiste. As I mentioned, he's there with the likes of Dylan Montgomery and playing for the first time on Ballina in opposition colours. He would know too well about how much the impact that Yobbo's Hill have as we go into... So for Ballina, they are going in tied 3 ways with Casino and Kygel. Of course, those two teams play today as well. So they're going to be joined, if they win this one, they'll be joined with either Casino or Kygel on top of the ladder. A loss for them will send them down to second. Whilst for Byron Bay, they are basically looking at, I think it's now 3 games without a win. And here's an interesting stat here, Crossy, that Byron Bay have been in front at the Sheds for every single one of those games that they've played thus far, but they're just finding it hard to get out for the second half.
I haven't seen a lot of the Bay this year. I mean, I watched that game that you called at Kyogle, Dwayne, and they seem to lose their way in that second half, and that kind of supports exactly what you're talking about there. Just going back to this game, that was a really good set for the Bay. They got forward. I'm really impressed with these Kennedy brothers, both Lachlan and Kyle. Physical indeed, and some good carries out of trouble there. And now Ballina, that's tackle 3, and they're only on about their 30-metre line, looking to gain some ascendancy.
The Red Devils know that history is against them, against these two teams. Since 2013, they've only come away with the win on one occasion and for one draw a couple of seasons back. The last time these two teams played, and be it two very different sides, and a lot of these players would have been playing in that game, both for Ballina. It was 64-0 in favour of Ballina over Byron at Red Devil Park. So as we get into the live action, nicely taken to the tackle there by Kel Schiefer. Had the help there with Jamie Lyon. So this will be now Baptiste playing with about 20 metres out. Gets in the hands of Dylan Montgomery. They know these players in and out there, Crossy.
We see a penalty right in front there, just trying to slow that play the ball down. Big Dylan Montgomery, that's one thing he does do. He gets forward, gets his bumpers up, finds some space and generates a quick play the ball. They decide to take the tap here, and that'll be through Kennedy.
And then, yeah, normally for me, Andrew Baptiste always takes the safe option of 2, but he knows that playing against a very strong attacking side in Ballina, he knows too well that they need to get any opportunity for points. And they're doing thus far in the first 4 minutes of this one. This is Baptiste into the hands. That's gone into Carney. Oh, nice legs tackle there by Jamie Lyon.
They've got to keep going left here, Dwayne.
Baptiste goes into the hands. That is, I believe that to be Ben Crawford. He's also an ex-Ballina player. Actually, if you count last year, Crossy, there's 5 ex-Ballina players in this Byron Bay squad. Plays on the short side. This is looking promising for Byron, but that just was spilt there by Scott Stapleton.
Oh, Scott Stapleton, he just needed to hold his shape there and sort of and run lines just outside the outside shoulder of his centre. He was actually in space. Brad Lees did a great job of sort of running on an overs line and engaging that two-man, that centre. Unfortunately, Stapleton couldn't come up with the catch. But for me, Dwayne, Byron Bay are on top here. They had a really good set, as I mentioned before, coming out of trouble. Got to a good kick. Jamie Lyon had to come up with a kick basically on his own 30, and then we saw Connor Wilson having to carry basically for tackle 1 on halfway. So they're really starting to win that arm wrestle.
So if you look at the stats coming into this one, the Ballina Seagulls, they have 5 players on 4 tries or more in the stats. And they've been given away another penalty there, Byron Bay. So they've done well to keep Ballina deep inside their own half of field. And I think Josh Gollan's going to assert some authority early here, Crossy, knowing that it's going to be, we're expecting a bit of a tit-for-tat contest.
Well, no surprise to see Dylan Montgomery called out for probably having a few things to say. He never holds back, big deal, and Carney will come over and find out what's going on. Look, to me, again, we're a fair distance away here, Dwayne. That looked like one of those 50-50 ones that could have gone either way, so maybe Big Monty let him know that it should have went the other way. But nevertheless, Jamie Lyon's going to kick for touch here and probably find touch on around halfway.
So Ballina, 5 of their 6 wins so far this season have come by and they scored 30 points or more, and for only 4 out of 5 of those only conceded single digits against their opposition. So Byron will know that they're going to have to beat the stats game and if they're going to get the job done in this one, and of course history, Crossy.
Yeah, I wonder if there would have been a few blokes lost when they turned up here today, wondering which sheds they're meant to go to. I mean, we've got half a team here that's probably ex-Ballina players.
So as they play through the hands, that's Reece Riches. He's tackled there by Dylan Montgomery. So the Ballina are about 30 metres away now from their Byron Bay line, getting it through the hands. And that's quick hands too. That's red numbers on the left there. He had Liam Anderson on his left-hand side there, Crossy, but it's still played on. This is going to be Ollie Regan.
And look, Nick Ritter hasn't moved here, Dwayne. I think Josh Gollan's going to have to hold things up here. He has not moved from that shot from Montgomery.
So this is going to be played by Michael Dwayne. He gets it in through the hands. That's Lyon. Jamie Lyon, nice step. Could this be first points coming from Lyon? Not quite. It's 5th and last. Playing on the short side, across the carpet, and it's going to be collected there. Oh, that's spilt. And I think now Josh Gollan has just seen Nicholas Ritter, as he just mentioned there, and he's not looking too good there, Crossy.
No, it was, as we just see play halted here, time off. I kept an eye on that at the time there, Dwayne, and it was Kane Montgomery, the lock forward for Byron Bay. He's really known for his punishing defence and rushing out of the line. And blokes, anyone who's played against him always tends to have a look, because it's not something you want to end up on the end of. And on that occasion, Nicholas Ritter, he plays really good pre-line, tips on early, created the numbers. However, Montgomery didn't miss him. I don't know if it was foul play or not, but he's certainly in a world of pain out there at the moment.
So this is very unfortunate. So I think they're just lifting him up now, Shorey. I think he might have just copped a bit of a knock in the tackle. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, you always know, Dwayne, when you see
he's
those
moving,
happen,
that's good. His legs are moving too. That's what we want to see.
Whenever you see the hands come up and the old claw and they don't move, it's always a worry with some head knocks. So I hope he's all right. He's a really important part of their team, Ritter.
So if you're just joined us here, we're about 8 minutes and change in the first half. It's still 0-0. Both teams have been at either end. And for me, Byron Bay Crossy, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, they always start off a strong game in the first half and always go in front at the sheds, but they know if Byron, of course, got to get the job done today, they've got to play the whole 80 minutes without a shadow of a doubt. And as we can see Nicholas Ritter there, I think that will pretty much be his day done.
Yeah, that'll be him for today. Unfortunately, he's not well at all, and our thoughts do go out to him. Hopefully he's okay. He's a big loss for the Seagulls team here today. As I said, I'm a big fan of him. He can use the footy both pre-line and post-line. For a big man, he's extremely skillful, and he'll be a huge loss here this afternoon.
So this should be a dropout again. I think that was a hand touch when we get going back to how we're going to restart play, but I think they're all set up here on the 20-metre line. I thought there might have been a hand there from the likes of
it was Connor Wilson.
Connor Wilson, yeah.
And it did look from our position, Dwayne, that he took it over. But we were going to see a penalty here, I think, if we're going to go back to the hit on Ritter. So
yeah, so there we go. So that would have been for a late hit on Nicholas Ritter. So Ballina will now have a full set of 6, 30 metres out from the Byron Bay line, and he's met by a big hit up. Does well to get inside on the 20. This will be Michael Dwayne to now play it. Gets it in the hands of Jamie Lyon. Deep pass, and he's met there well in defence there by Todd Carney.
Yeah, great D, Carney. He read it like a book.
This is Lyon. Brings it in. That's in the hands of Phil Crosby. And that's into Jack Durheim. He's crunching the tackle there by his ex-teammate there, Dylan Montgomery. This is Dwayne. Lyon. And they're opting for that short side. He's well man in defence there by I think that's Ben Crawford. Bit of a late change in the halves there. We had Todd Carney starting in the number 6, matter of fact. And that's a nice little hit and spin there by Brasek. Back in the hands of Michael Dwayne. And this is now fifth and last. Bay have defended well in their own 10 metres and well defended there. But I think he's just spilled it. They're going to be claiming a try early. Let's see what Josh Gollan calls out of this. I thought he might have grounded that if anything else, but we'll see what Josh Gollan's has consult one of his assistants. And for me, if Byron haven't grounded that, they might have a good case of a try here on Ballina.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite sure. I mean, I must admit, it was Lees coming across, good positional play from the Bay fullback, and him and Connor Wilson didn't really communicate there. They both sort of knocked each other out of the way. That's always your fullback's ball there, so that's Lees' ball.
He's actually called a penalty against Ballina, so there you go.
Okay, well, the Bay are off the hook there, and they did well to hang in. Some good D from Carney, and as I said, those Kennedy boys are working nice and hard in there as well for the Red Devils. So let's see if they can get out of their own end as good as they did last time.
So that was a nice D kick there. So we also got to mention there, Dan Gibson is also one of those ex-Ballina players who knows what it's going to be like to have Yobbo's heel up against him, because he's been here day in, day out for the Ballina Seagulls in the past. So this would be Dylan Montgomery taking it up there, getting slammed into the tackle. So as you mentioned there, Crossy, some of these teams don't even know which sheds they would have walked into. So how does it feel being here, being the ex-Byron Bay coach, but sitting up here in the commentary box?
Yeah, mate, it's good. It's good to see it from a different perspective. It's good to see some ball movement there from the Red Devils. Yeah, good to come here with no pressure on, that's for sure.
And then, of course, you got the other candidate in this one, Mick Foster, who's actually changed benches as well. As I mentioned, he was an ex-Ballina coach now, also taking assistant's role at Byron Bay.
Yeah, he's a good pickup, Mickey Foster. He's a real student of the game and really really his footy, so he'd be a good pickup for the Red Devils.
So Carney sends that one up high and should be collected there by, I believe that's to be Chad North. And nice big, so that's Oliver Regan. And he's met there in the tackle by Kay Montgomery.
Yeah, he's had a huge start of the year, Oliver Regan. Speaking to Jamie Lyon during the week, and I asked him, who's been sort of the best sort of 2 or 3 players for the Seagulls team this year, and the first player he said was Jamie Lyon, which is no surprise if you know Jamie. But in all seriousness, he said, look, Ollie Regan's been outstanding among a couple of others. So, and look, Oliver Regan could go straight back into a Queensland Cup team and do a really good job. That's the quality of the player.
So Jamie Lyon sends that one potential 40-20, but it's going to be collected there by Brad Lee. Sorry, that is Brad Lee's. Does well to get it right on their own 40-metre line. He's crunched, taken in the tackle there by Kel Sheevers. Manages to finally get him down. This will be played in dummy half here by Brent Crawford. Crawford's there appealing for a penalty. This is the second phase. And the Ballina defence is just always there waiting for it there, Crossy. That's just what they do week in and week out. This will be Crawford.
Well, the Bay, as we spoke about, they've led at half-time in every game this year. Is that correct?
They're pretty much.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Most of them. So they do tend to front-load a lot of their energy, as we see an error.
So, yeah, that isn't... So, they were looking for the pass there. So, both teams have had their chances, but we'll be interested to see who gets the first try of this one, Crossy. It's been really tit for tat, as we knew coming into this one. And just lost pitches there just for 1 sec, but...
Well, that's what was going to be my point, Dwayne, that the Bay really need to get some they need to get some reward for effort and come up with some points early against this Ballina team, because Ballina's the sort of team that they want to actually get into the arm wrestle with you. They want to go end-to-end footy, keep the ball in play and put a bit of fatigue into the other team, because they're always notoriously a fit team, Ballina, and they can win it in the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes if they have to. So the Bay have really got to come up with some points early.
And we can do a little bit of a history lesson from about a month or so ago, Ballina versus Casino, when you called that one with me, that was a perfect example. Ballina were a little bit shaky to start with, but then that last 20 minutes, they really romped it home. And here's a bit of a stat for you, Crossy, going into this one. 16 out of 17 players of this squad, or 16 out of the entire squad, for Ballina have either scored 2 tries or more. Byron has only had 6.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. I don't know exactly, as far as the draw goes, who they've played and what opposition's been in front of them, but you can only beat what's in front of you, as we see a potential shoulder charge there from one of the Kennedy boys.
So, yeah, Ballina have thus far tallied 44 tries into this one. Byron Bay coming in with 25. So this is now going to be taken up. I believe that to be... I think that was, Michael Dwayne. The boots. I remember the boots. 1 black boot, 1 orange boot.
How did you not know who your favourite player was? That was him.
Yeah, by the boots. And so this is Lyon, Regan, and he's just there taking it just inside the 10-metre line. This will be 4th phase. Dwayne plays short side. Brings it into the hands of Lyon. He's been playing offline all game. And I think that was Kel Sheever there. He was just caught in 2 minds there. Crossy?
Yeah, they lost their way a bit. They went short side to line, but now as we go wide, we're going to have a 2-pass shift.
And so there's numbers on the left. That was meant for Liam Anderson. It's going to the hands of Chad North. Like the corner, but he isn't going to get there. Well defended there by the Bombay Red Devils, and they'll have a play the ball there 10 metres away from their own line.
Yeah, enterprising play from the Seagulls. I think that they're a little bit flat to play that. Coleman come up with had to sort of catch and pass and try to play a long pass, probably passing off the wrong leg. Never easy to do, and he come up with a forward pass. So the Bay they've withstood another set of 6 there, so that'll give them confidence.
So coming into this one, all losses from Byron Bay have came when they conceded 23 points or more. So they know if they can just keep their discipline and just keep this up for 80 minutes and keep Ballina to a low score, then they're in with a really good shot here. And also I must mention they've currently fourth game in out of having 5 out of 7 on the road. Of course, they had to play Moolumbar last week, and of course on the live stream 2 weeks ago against Kyogle. So they'll be looking forward to getting a home game against Morris Brothers next Sunday. Ballina, they'll play away to Northern United. So as we get back to the action here, nice little hit and spin. And so they're about just 5 metres away from the halfway line. This is Batiste. Sends that. There was a little bit of a ricochet there, Crossy, but it's going to be collected there by, I think that's Oliver Regan.
And as we roll through, what are we 17 or so minutes into this game?
Well, there was a bit of stoppage, so we've got a clock here, but we don't actually, the clock doesn't have stoppages, so there's been 17 minutes since kickoff, so we probably, with that stoppage with Nicholas Ritter and a couple of other things, I think we're going to say about 14 minutes of play, official play, but...
Okay, so we're through that initial period of the real physical stuff. You know, there would have been a lot of emotion early in the week.
There's play down there for the Red Devils there, Crossy. As they play the short side, that goes right over the sidelines. Byron Bay will have a scrum feed 40 metres out of their own line.
And that's what I was about to say. I think it's going to start opening up very, very soon because you know what it's like with these local derbies, as you called it, the Battle of the Beaches. A lot of emotion goes into that sort of first 5-10 minute period and sort of get on top, show who's boss. But once that passes, then you've got to basically find your second wind and get into the groove of just playing footy. And for me at the moment, it's the Ballina that looks most likely.
So if you just joined us, it's still nil or no points have been scored by any team thus far. As you can see here, it's 22 degrees currently in Ballina and a southeasterly breeze of 11 kilometres, as you can see there on the graphic. And that would be coming straight from the Richmond River over the Missingham Bridge. And when it does rain, we know about it in the commentary box. So this will be now Carney to play 40 metres out from the Byron line.
And Dwayne, I reckon Yobbo's Hill's filled up even more, mate, since kickoff.
I'd have to say that's probably on par from last year's grand final, believe it or not. So that's very impressive there for, of course, this being the two ex-NRRRL players have been, I mean, you know you're in for a big game when you start getting back page stories on the Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, it's fantastic, mate. I just love what they're doing at the moment in the Northern Rivers competition with obviously Carney and line, but just the little things, you know, even with this live stream, thanks to Ladbrokes, you know, it's just really improving the promotion of the game of rugby league in the Northern Rivers. So, yeah, congratulations to all involved so far.
So that's Montgomery, takes it up. He's there, crunched in the tackle by Jack Durnheim and Michael Dwayne. So I've been seeing a lot of, as you see, like when Batiste has the ball, it has everyone there waiting. Like when you see an ex-Ballina play with the ball, you could just say they're all their ex-teammates are wanting to take the honour of defence there, Crossy. They want to know that they're no longer on home territory.
Well, with the greatest amount of respect to Todd Carney, I think the players most spoken about at Ballina training this week would have been Andrew Batiste and Dylan Montgomery, and of course shutting down Montgomery's go forward and then trying to eliminate what Batiste does off the back. That's a good bomb.
Nice kick there by Ben Crawford, and potentially want to put that inside their own dead ball line. And what's Josh Golden caught here?
Yeah, he's what a kick.
Yeah, he's well defended there by Byron Bay to force a line dropout.
Great kick from Crawford. That's right on the spot. He's landed that half a metre out from the end goal, and then the chasing team over there of Stapleton and probably Connor Wilson have bundled him into the end goal. So, Benny Crawford. I actually played against Ben Crawford, so I don't know how old or young that makes Crawford, but he's actually doing a good job out there.
So as Ballina about to take the line drop out here, so it's been really impressive defence by both teams thus far. And they went for the short restart there, so they'll be taking on the first phase about 15 to 20 metres out from the Ballina line. This will be played here by Kyle Kennedy. Taking in the tackle, that is Gabe Belcher. So Batiste has really done well to move around the park. He's in familiar territory.
Big numbers left, Dwayne.
So he gets in the hands. Oh, so he's absolutely spilled that. So there's a little bit of moisture from the ball from the earlier wet weather. So, Ballina are keen to play on with that, but it's not going to eventuate.
Look, I don't think that was meant for Kennedy. They had to get out and find Carney and get it out to his outside man. I noticed Ballina had put an extra defender on the short side. So they actually already had the numbers, the Red Devils, even before the pass went through. So I like their shape. They're sort of getting to a far right post or a scrum line and opening up that left-hand side of the field for Carney and Crawford to pass the ball to each other. It's good shape.
So this is now taking on the first phase, 10 metres out. Michael Dwayne will now play it. And he's taken there in the tackle there by, I think that's Gabe Belcher. Dwayne plays it from dummy half, does well to get out of the hands of Carney, but he's not going to get out of the grip of Dylan Montgomery. So about 40 metres out from the Ballina line. Gets in the hands of Jess Perry playing from dummy half. So Byron have just done so well, and that's on the fourth phase, just to keep Ballina on the halfway line. That's line. Gets it in the hands of Jack Durheim. This will be our 5th and last.
Line might look short side here.
So he has Reece Riches on the short side. That's line. Nice little chip. It's well picked up there by Oliver Regan, but he's absolutely crunched in the tackle. And Byron will have this back about 20 metres out from their own line.
Yeah, that was enterprising play. You could see that a mile away. Jamie Lyon with the dummy half, and that's that preferred right-hand side of the field. You've seen that many years for Manly Seagulls, just ducking down the short side, putting a little kick in. He did exactly that on that occasion, and they were just one sort of poor bit of handling away there from coming up with 4 points.
So as we get back into live action, so last time Byron have beaten Ballina was back in 2015 at this very ground, 33 points to 20. That was off the back of the 2014 grand final, where Ballina did win 17 points to 6, in which Andrew Baptiste had a field day kicking goals. Other than that, it's been pretty much one-sided affair between these two teams, but obviously, sorry, Crossy.
He's just had a crack at a 40-20 there, Baptiste, which you would know every blade of grass on this field. But I don't mind that from the Red Devils, like getting out of your own end, turning Ballina around, playing field position, and just starting to build some pressure.
So that was Todd Carney involved in the tackle there. So the one player that's been quiet for me thus far, sure, and I actually see him, he's been brought out from his wing. He's probably going back out there now, is Reece Riches. So he's been one of those 4 try scorers that Ballina have had this year. So pretty much if Ballina are going to get some points on the board, they really need to get him more involved.
In the games that I've called, Dwayne, Reece Riches, I've been super impressed with him. Nearly a dummy and go there from Perry, but looks like his opposite number was up to the task there in Carney. Yeah, Riches, everything he does is quality, so they probably just need to get him more involved, as you say.
So this will be now collected by Brad Lees. He's got Jamie Lyon and Liam Anderson to be graded in defence. And he's there crunched about 20 metres out from the Ballina line, about 10 inside field.
And let's have a look at how the Red Devils respond here, Dwayne. This is what I want to see, how their actual attitude to a bit of adversity, having to actually come out of their own end. Let's have a look at their body language.
So the clubhouse here behind us are starting to go up, and the Yobos Hill are equally as vocal. And there's a big contingent of Byron Bay supporters onto our left-hand side here.
One thing they do have, Dwayne, going from Batista's going to kick early again here.
Big kick. He's caught Liam Anderson and Oliver Regan napping in defence. This will be taken here by Ollie Regan. And he'll be greeted there in defence. He beats about 3 players. Well defended there. He beats, I think that's Dylan sorry, that's Ben Malloy. Now that's Reece Riches playing there from inside centre. On the second phase, there are still about 20. This is the one thing that I've been impressed with thus far for Byron Bay Red Devils, which is pretty much, if they're going to have any hope in this game, Crossy, is the discipline. They conceded the least amount of penalties from what I've seen from them this year, at least.
No, I've been impressed with them. Todd Carney's obviously done a great job over there as captain coach this year, and he's got as they're away there, Dwayne.
Oh, that's Michael Dwayne, and you can just hear there Yobos Hill going up in approval. And maybe a bit of a commentator's curse on our part, Crossy, on the 5th phase after defending well for about 5 phases there. They've just given away a penalty, and Ballina are going to have a set of 6 deep inside the Byron half.
Yeah, I know it's not a great result, but you know what, Dwayne, I actually think they needed that penalty because they were at 6s and 7s. They had blokes slow getting back on side, so at least this gives them a chance to get their line set and throw up some good defence against his Ballina team.
So he's taken up there with Andrew Baptiste involved in the tackle there. I think that's also Ben Malloy. This is Michael Dwayne to play from dummy half. Gets it in the hands of Jack Durheim. And so they're on the second phase. Smack bang 10 metres out, straight in front of the sticks. Could this be the first points of the game? And we're in about 23, 24 minutes there. And you can see on the bottom left-hand side there, 26 minutes where we've got to take consideration we don't stop those clocks when there's stoppages. And we've already had a couple. This is Durheim. He's crunched there by Dylan Montgomery. Well defended there.
Yeah, great defence.
So they're playing the short side. Michael Dwayne into the hands of Jamie Lyon. Kicks across the carpet. And it's just going to be too deep. It'll be a 20-metre restart for Byron Bay.
Oh, we overcooked that one there, Killer. And now the Bay are going to have 7 tackles. And they'll come up with an attacking kick, hopefully on the end of this, for all their fans watching at home. So near miss there for Ballina. But Byron Bay hopefully can do something good with this set of 6.
So this is Dylan Montgomery on the first phase. This will be now Andrew Baptiste. He'll go the long side into the hands of Kyle Kennedy. He was had an impressive under-23s tournament. I think that was his 2nd or 3rd campaign for the Northern Rivers Titans. So this is Carney, sends that down just inside 40, big deep kick.
40-20 here.
And potential 40-20. Chad North knew it and he was unable to defend it. And the Byron Bay Red Devils know it. So Byron Bay are going to have a perfect chance, 20, just inside 20 from the Ballina line.
You can't coach class, and Todd Carney's got that in abundance. That was a great kick, very early, given it was 7 tackles. He rolled the dice and he come up with a couple of sixes, and that looks like Roberts Laurie just come straight onto the field.
Keon Roberts Laurie does well. I think that was, might have been him. No, that wasn't him in the header. Oh, or was it?
Good pass.
No, and there's numbers on the left. That's Todd Carney. He's crunched there by his opposite captain, Coach Jamie Lyon. There you go, Carney versus Lyon, right here on the MGM Sports live stream. I was wondering when they were going to have a head-to-head there, Crossy. This is Crawford. Carney into the hands. That's Kennedy.
Jeez, he looks
just short. This is Batiste. Into the hands of Carney. Cut out pass in the corner. Byron Bay get the first points.
Forward pass.
Oh, no, they don't. Yet. Josh Gollan there is called for a pass.
Oh, that's a shame for the Bay. They deserved a try there. They stretched them. They set up that on the right-hand side of the field, and they went to their left edge with Lees. He's a real threat out there, Brad Lees. And they came back the other side. I was just about to say they're a little bit too much lateral at the moment, but then all of a sudden they played a short ball to Kennedy. He's been enormous in this early exchange. And then unfortunately Carney come up with a great pass, but it was
and I think there's been a bit of back chat against some of from the Byron Bay Red Devils. He's now given a penalty now for the Ballina Seagulls.
Well, this is what you were talking about, Nev, before. That lack of
discipline,
yeah. Which is we don't want to see that creep in.
So we're just getting into the latter portion of the first half, and believe it or not, it's still 0-0. And both teams have had their chances, so we wonder who's going to... It's kind of a reminder of last night's game between the Warriors and the Broncos. That was 2-2 right into deep inside. There was only one try in the whole game from Anthony Milford. So that's pretty much the recipe going into this one.
It's got that feel about it, hasn't it? This one, I think, unfortunately, it's going to be someone who just clocks off at marker or a defender and doesn't do their job is going to get found out.
So if you're going in from past form, you think Ballina would have been the pretty warm favourites coming in this one, but Byron Bay and having some ex-Ballina players, that was basically the leveler for me, and you couldn't get it more level at 0-0. But let's see what Ballina can do here, and they've, oh dear, on the 5th phase, couldn't get to that kick. Jared Durham has just let the ball slip out of his fingers, and Byron will have a scrum feed about 30 metres away from their own line.
Yeah, was it Durham or was it might have been Daniel Johnson?
Sorry, Daniel Johnson.
Yeah. That was a shame there. I just had a feeling the Seagulls, they were building for something there. The Bay, a lot of hands on hips and sort of crouching over. So they're off the hook in that instance. And we're going to see Connor Wilson, who I've got a big rap on this young kid. Connor Wilson, he was enormous for us last year when I was coaching, and he was just really, really good at bringing that ball out of his own end. He's much like a Corey Oates, Nev, for the Broncos.
Of course. So if you just joined us, it is 0-0. We're about 12, 13 minutes of change. It's proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to the Android or iPhone stores to download the app today, or head to ladbrokes.com.au for all the latest betting information. Gamble responsibly if you do so. And Andrew Batiste, and you can hear it right over our right shoulders here. He knows he's the opposition today, and he knows it too. You could just see the sheepish look on Andrew Batiste's face there, Crossy. He knew that, once that ball left the hand, he knew it was just...
He was waiting for the sledge.
He's waiting for the sledges.
Yeah, it's a shame there for Berger. I saw him in the warm-up, actually, and he had the real steely face, the game face on, so I was hopeful he was in for a big game here today. And unfortunately, a couple of uncharacteristic errors for Batiste early, but I'm sure he'll have something else in his bag of tricks. Good defence there from Roberts Laurie and Stapleton.
So he gets it through into the hands. That's going to be taken up by Philip Crosby. And they're about 45 metres away from the Ballina line. This will be Michael Dwayne. And he's there greeted in the tackle by Ben Malloy. And that was Keon Roberts Laurie. So he'd been missing from the team sheet. He was missing from the game against Cog, which covered a couple of weeks ago.
Roberts Laurie?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good young kid, another Ballina kid.
Yeah, and he's also, he was playing a bit of rep footy this year, I think for the Laurie Daly Cup squad to memory.
Yeah, we were sort of hopeful of getting him up to the Detroit Head Seagulls Queensland Cup system, but as Coleman gets it away.
That's Regan. Goes the left shot. He has Chad North on his left, but he's just going to be crunched over the sidelines to the approval of the Byron Bay supporters. And Byron will now have a play the ball about 10 metres away from their own line.
A couple of good mates there, I'm sure. Regan and Dan Gibson, a couple of strong humans. As soon as Gibson wrapped that ball up, he's a very strong customer. Regan wasn't going anywhere except into touch. So the Bay, they just keep hanging in there. I'm sort of waiting for something to happen and for this game to be blown sort of wide open, but not to be. And here is this kid again, Kennedy. Gee, I've been impressed with him, Dwayne. He's so hungry for work, and he's just, everything he does is quality.
So this will be now taken up by Ben Montgomery. And they're about into the hands of Crosby. Well, nice. And that's Jamie Lyon. He's been very busy in defence today, Jamie Lyon. Him and Michael Dwayne have been playing in attack and defence, reading off each other very well in this game thus far. This will be Batiste. Carney. Carney gets to the hands. That's going to hand that one back over. Carney's called play on there.
Yeah, play on for Belcher.
So let's see what comes out of this one.
Oh, that was good play from Belcher. He knew he just had to dive on it.
Carney plays from dummy half. There's a short, but Ballina shorter numbers in defence on the left side. And this will be the first phase for me. Oh, there, Michael Dwayne, always passionate in defence. Against his out, that's his opposite number there. Batiste into the hands of Montgomery. Met in the tackle there by Jamie Lyon. That'll be on the second phase. And so there goes in the hands of Crawford. Carney brings it inside. That's to Roberts-Laurie. Keon Roberts-Laurie.
Lees has come to the right edge here.
Batiste into the hands of Carney. Brings it back inside. Going for the corner, and it's just going to be dragged over. Or has he just got the ball off just in time? Well played there in attack by the Red Devils. That's going to be Kennedy. That'd be Kyle Kennedy. Fifth and last. Ballina have done well. Only considered about 10 metres in attack. Carney kicks that one across field. And it's going to be collected. Oh, it's just spilt. That surely should be a knock on. But Byron Bay have other ideas. They're claiming try. This could be the first try, and it is. Josh Collin has pointed the spot. And Byron Bay have drawn first blood here after about 32 minutes of football. 4 points to nil.
Oh, congratulations to Byron Bay. That's a great effort to get over the line there. They've been under all sorts of pressure. I must admit, I did think Connor Wilson may have tackled one of the Ballina players in the air there as contesting it, but we don't have the luxury of a replay to show that. But nevertheless, that'll go down as 4 points for the Bay, and they're going to play from in front. Just trying to find a try. I think it was Matty Gallagher. Always on the spot, Matty Gallagher, the left edge back rower there for the Bay. I think he scooped up the loose ball and was good enough to get over. So congratulations there to Gal. He'll open the account for the Red Devils here today.
So this will be now Andrew Batiste. Now, he knows these goalposts better than anybody that's ever played at this field. He's won several grand finals here for the Ballina Seagulls, but today he's going to have Yobbo's Hill right on his back. Just hear the noise here. But he'd be pretty immune to this though, Crossy.
Oh yeah, this won't phase Batiste one little bit.
So we're looking at potentially another game for the Byron Bay Red Devils. They'll go in front at halftime. Batiste sends that one over, and it's easy as you like. Thus now making it 6 points to nil for the Byron Bay Red Devils over the Ballina Seagulls. You can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. Ladbrokes.com.au for all your latest betting action. If you prefer the smartphones, head over to your Android or iPhone stores, whatever device you have. Gamble responsibly.
And the kick, Dwayne, we didn't really touch on from Carney. It was absolutely on the money. I mean, he had to sort of duck back in towards the play the ball and then kick it on the inside of his foot back out to the left-hand side of the field. It, again, just shows his class.
So this is going to be collected today by Ben Crawford. And that's Reece Richards there, doing well in defence. And yeah, for me, Crossy, we still need to see Reece Richards getting more involved. I think they're at least trying Ballina, because I've seen him come from centre and then on the fourth or fifth phase starts moving back into his on his wing position.
It hasn't gone his way just yet, but I think, as I said earlier, he generally comes up with some good quality touches whenever he's needed. As Batiste jumps out of dummy half.
And he's absolutely crunched there. That was well taken there. I think that was Kel Shiva they're getting involved with Jamie Lyon. That's Crawford. Gets it into the hands of Matt Gallagher. So Batiste, that's Ben Malloy. Brings it back to Batiste. Batiste sends that one up high.
Well, Gibson's coming through.
And so let's see what's come out of this. He's taken off the ball there, Crossy, for me. Let's see what Josh Gollan, I think Josh Gollan calls that. He might even just call that one play on. So this will be Reece Richards now to play from dummy half. And he's just driven back there. Well defended there by the Red Devils.
They've lifted a notch here, the Bay.
So that gets it into the hands. He's taken in the tackle there by Kennedy. That one being Kyle Kennedy. He's probably been the most busy in defence today for the Red Devils. It's Todd Carney there in defence. So Michael Dwayne now will play it now. This should be about the fourth phase. Through their hands. That was passed off there by Jack Durheim.
And that little trick shot there, Dwayne, shows exactly what Ballina can do. The Bay have got to keep their line nice and connected and come up together.
So Lyon sends that one. And that was taken there. I think that's, who was that there across? That was
Brad Lees.
Brad Lees. Yeah. So he's taken there on the first phase. Michael Dwayne does him, keeps him 30 metres out from the Byron Bay line. And they just, for me, Byron Bay just need to keep their discipline and their attack, and at very least they'll take the 6-point advantage into the sheds.
Just look at where we are now, Dwayne. So we had a kick downfield. Lees catches it on the full, and then Gabe Belcher has a good carry, and then their other winger, Connor Wilson. So their back three are doing the job that they need to do here this afternoon.
So Batiste gets in the hands of Kennedy, and he's greeted there by his under-23's teammate, Michael Dwayne. This will be now fifth and last. Batiste will play it about 20 metres out from the Ballina line. Carney will send that one up. And the sun's just getting in the eyes of Reece Richards, but it's collected there by Ollie Regan. He's going to have to do well to get out of this one, Ollie Regan.
Oh, wow.
And if anyone's going to do it, it's him. And how about that, Ollie Regan? He does well. He was probably odds on against getting out of his own dead ball line, but he does well to get about 15 metres off the fly.
We'll take a bow, Oliver Regan. That's outstanding. That's a huge turnaround for your team, potentially facing a line dropout, and now they're out on the 30-metre line.
And the sun hasn't been their friend there. For me, you think that Ballina would wish they'd still had a bit of the shower as we had at the start of the game. That's well and truly long gone out to sea now. This is Jamie Lyon playing on the short side.
This could be a penalty here.
Well picked up there. So Ballina has a chance to potentially take this back to an even playing field. Byron's discipline is just some old habits, bad habits are just...
Well, that's a real indication of how I feel this game is teetering on the edge at the moment. You know, you have a situation where Regan gets tackled in the end goal, and now Byron Bay have the ball attacking their line. However, comes up with a good play, gets out, then Ballina get their nose through on a couple of plays and then get a penalty, and now Sheether's going to get tackled about 25 metres out from the Byron Bay line.
So Michael Dwayne plays a little nice dummy run, just stripped in his crunch there by his ex-teammate Dylan Montgomery. This is Lyon playing it now from dummy half. They want to try and get this back to a level playing field. Byron Bay's defence just held up well thus far, but I think that Simon has broken. He's called that knock on. I thought he might have caught that one over there, Crossy.
I thought it looked all right from here as well, but nevertheless, that's not to be for the Seagulls.
And the crowd goes up from the travelling Byron Bay supporters. So Batiste will have this 20 metres out from their own line. That's Ben Malloy. He's met there by Michael Dwayne in defence. So, and they've given away a penalty the other way. So Byron had a perfect chance to take the lead at half time, and they might... he's kicked the ball away there, Crossy.
Well, I think Josh Gollan was sort of signalling that there was back chat, was there, mate?
No, well, you could just see there, I didn't see who the number was, but there was a Byron player that's kicked the ball away. You'd be lucky not to be sent to the bin. I've seen players being sent for that, for 10, for slowing down the play.
And with the way the Bay have gone this year, mate, they really need everything to go for them. They don't need to be giving penalties away whilst in possession. I mean, that's just an absolute coach killer. Todd Carney will not be happy with that one little bit. So Jamie Lyon's going to find touch now, 20 metres out. And I expect them to sort of set up on the right side and really have a look at this left-hand side of the field.
And once again, we want to make known to the viewers at home, as you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, there is a timer. We do not take time for stoppages on our clocks, and we did have about maybe 3 minutes of stoppages during the duration of the first half. So we've probably got about another, well, that's 42 minutes there. So we've got about another at least 2 minutes, you'd think. But so either way, this should be Ballina's last set of 6 of the first half, unless Byron Bay give away another penalty.
Lions come down the short side here.
This will be Jess Perry to play it from dummy half. Goes himself, Jess Perry. And his opposite number there, Todd Carney, just brings him down. So they should go the short side. They do. Michael Dwayne. This is the line.
It's Coleman.
And there's Coleman. Coleman goes over. And this should be a level playing. This should be level playing field into the first half. Thus they're making the score 6-4. Kick to come.
Well, we saw down the other end of the field for the Bay, a bit of class from Todd Carney, and we just saw it again there from line, and a very underrated player outside him in Anthony Coleman. He's a deceivingly strong player, Coleman. He runs a good line. He's been a very good player for Ballina for a long time now, and he did that with ease. The Bay's right edge defence will be really disappointed with their effort there, and a little bit of fatigue kicking in for the Bay, and again, Dwayne, that comes back to giving a penalty away in possession.
And as I mentioned, throughout the duration of this half, discipline is been so well for Byron for the first 30 minutes of this contest, and I just switched off during the last 5-10 minutes, and as you can see there, it's proven costly, and that luxury of having another potential first half lead is about to be evaporated potentially by Jamie Lyon. So Anthony Coleman hit, that is his 3rd try of this year's campaign. Of course, he scored 2 against Kyogle. During the season of 2016-18, he was under 23s rep. He was the captain of the under 23s champions for Northern Rivers last year. Had a campaign for the Toyota Cup for the Gold Coast Titans. As the kick goes over by Jamie Lyon, sends that one over, making it now an even level playing field at 6-all, as you can see on the Ladbrokes scoreboard.
And Josh Collins just sent everyone into half-time. We didn't hear the hooter, but that is half-time.
What a tit-for-tat game, as we knew it would be, Crossy, coming into the first 40 minutes. Who did you like?
Yeah, I just had the feeling that the Bay were just sort of one sort of poor effort in D away from sort of letting themselves down and letting in a try, and we just saw that just before half-time. It's a real shame. Todd Carney and Mick Foster will be really disappointed with that, because they've been so good this first half, but for mine, mate, like Ballina just look promising, and they look threatening every time. To me, it just seems like it's a matter of when they're going to put a couple back-to-back, like we saw in round 2 against the Casino Cougars.
And I also must make note that Byron Bay, well, being at 6 points also, that streak has been broken, but they have not been down during the first half. But they've also, and this is just to back up, wait on what you just said there, Crossy, they have had trouble finishing off games, as you saw in the live stream a couple of weeks ago against Kyogle, where they're up by 4, and they just let some silly penalties get to the better of them. So they've got to scrub all that, and Todd Carney will no doubt have them ready. Jamie Lyon, in turn, will have Ballina ready. So strap yourselves in for the next 40.
You pretty much know exactly what's going to be said in either change room. So if you're Todd Carney, you're going in there and saying, listen, boys, these guys are the benchmark, and we've just matched it with them for 40 minutes. But what we've got to do is we've got to do all the little things right. We can't afford to give penalties away in possession or any undisciplined things and keep them in the game. And if you're Jamie Lyon, he's talking about the fact that exactly what you've spoken about, that they've led at half-time most times this year, and they haven't been able to finish off matches, and we just literally have to hang in there and win it in that sort of 75th, 77th minute.
Strap yourselves in, cross. It's going to be one hell of a second half. So as you can see on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, download the Ladbrokes app today if you prefer the smartphones on either Android or iPhone shops, or head to ladbrokes.com for all your betting action. Gamble responsibly. Half-time here at Kingston Smith Park in Ballina. Ballina Seagulls 6, Byron Bay Red Devils 6. We'll be in the back in about 5-10 minutes for the second half of action. Dwayne Neville and Nathan Cross coming to you back live at Kingford Park in Ballina. As you can see there on the Ladbrokes scoreboard, 6 apiece between both teams. There's been not really a whole lot in it for the Battle of the Beaches. As you can see there now, Byron will get us underway for the second half of action. Crossy, so what do both teams need to do to get the advantage going this one? It's so far advantage Ballina with that try at the latter portion of the first half.
Well, the Red Devils have just got to flush what happened 2 minutes before half time as far as giving away that penalty in possession and then leaking a try on their right edge there. They've got to get back to where they started in that first half, where they were nice and physical indeed. They were good coming out of their own end with some strong carries and a good kicking game from Carney and Batiste, and really start to play a bit of field position. Whereas the Seagulls, like I alluded to prior to half time, Jamie Lyon would just be saying to them, let's just get back into our groove, control the footy, play a little bit of end-to-end footy, put a bit of fatigue into this Byron Bay team, and I think the Seagulls will be confident that they can get away with the 2 points by putting in a strong second half.
So Byron, they don't have history in their side in the Battle of the Beaches fixture. In the last 11 games, Ballina have come out winners on 9 occasions for 1 draw and a loss. And they've kept Byron to single digits on 5 out of 7 of those occasions.
Let's play on.
So this is going to be taken up now by Daniel Johnson. So you just think the nerves for Byron are just starting to creep in. Some few bad habits coming in from, as I mentioned, they've done well to keep it in the game and went in front at the Sheds for now, I guess you can say the majority of the first half, as they've now kept at 6-all in this one. That second half, they just need to do the same. So this is going to be taken by Anthony Coleman. They've kept him on the short side of field. So it's going to be played now into the hands of Jack Durheim. And he's crunched there. Ben Malloy just couldn't quite get him down. Gets into the hands of Hayden Hansen. I think Hayden Hansen's gone over, so they've just... Oh, so now there's going to be a little bit of push and shove. There's been tensions throughout the whole game, which is not really a new thing between both of these teams, so just put it lightly.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been involved personally as a player or a coach when we played against Ballina and not had a bit of a scuffle. So nothing unusual, and that's a shame, Dwayne. That all started. Connor Wilson came up with an error, and I actually watched him. As soon as he went to take off, his left foot actually slipped, so he didn't get his takeoff right. Come up with the error, and then Ballina were good enough to get across the line. Realistically, only 1 or 2 minutes into the start of this second half. So that's exactly not what Todd Carney wanted, and Ballina captain coach Jamie Lyon will be really pleased with their start.
So that was Hayden. I think that was Hayden Hansen. Just to confirm, that was Hayden Hansen that got over there, Crossy?
Yeah, Hayden Hansen. He's been enormous for them this year. The one that Jamie Lyon mentioned when I spoke to him has been, along with Oliver Regan, one of their best. Hansen come down from the Queensland Cup this year.
Early Bears.
Played up early. Yep. Spent a bit of time at Redcliffe,
yep.
And he's well known up there in that Gold Coast comp. So he's a really handy pickup for the Ballina Seagulls this year, because I know in the preseason, speaking to Jamie, he was concerned about losing some of their middle forwards, obviously Montgomery, etc. to Ballina. So the likes of Hansen and Big Brassic, the Pommy front rower, they've been handy replacements.
So that's now 12 points to 6 to Ballina Seagulls over the Byron Bay Red Devils. And for Hayden Hansen, that is now his 5th try of the campaign, as you can see there. Ladbrokes.com.au for all your latest betting information. Gamble responsibly. Download the app today if you prefer the smartphones or tablet. So Hayden Hansen, that is his 5th try of the campaign, scoring 1 apiece against Morris Brothers Casino Moolumbar, and of course last week against Tweed Coast. So we get back now, that's Kel Shiva. He'll send that one up. He's going to be smashing the tackle. I think that's the Kennedy brothers as well as Todd Carney. I'd see there's some similar haircuts between the two there, Crossy, between Carney and I think that's what, Kyle Kennedy?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Same
the short back and sides.
In the bay, yeah. They go get the haircut and have a stone and wood when they go.
So that's Jack Durheim. So this will be now Michael Dwayne to play it from dummy half through the short side. It's going into... Coleman. That's Coleman. He's got there. Oh, Ollie Regan there on his right side. Potential live break. God begging there for the Ballina Seagulls. So Ballina now starting to get themselves into about 4th gear. And Byron, well, they were in front 6-0 right into the last later portion of the first half. They're potentially staring down the barrel of being 2 consecutive tries down. But that's well taken in there by Connor Wilson.
Well, I was going to make mention there, Nev, just after half time, it was clearly visible. Ballina come out, they jogged onto the field, a bit of a spring in their step. The Bay kind of walked out as if, they had their heads down still from leaking that try prior to half time. So They've leaked another one, so they've had a 5 or 6 minute period either sides of half time they'd rather forget. And now tackle 3 or 4, and Matty Gallagher's going to be tackled only about 6 metres out from his own line.
So Ballina have done well to keep Byron really deep inside their own half of field. And yes, we're looking at about the 4th phase here. That's Batiste to play it. I think that's Dylan Montgomery. He's taken down there by Daniel Johnson. And here's the 5th and last. That was impressive defence out by the Seagulls to keep him about 30 metres inside. So that's going into the hands of Ollie Regan. And he beats... Oh, he's slammed into the tackle. Well played there, and well played there in defence by the Byron Bay Red Devils to force a mistake.
And that was a real heads-up play from Dan Gibson. He knew he one-on-one. It's never a good idea to put yourself one-on-one with Ollie Regan, but as I mentioned in the first half, they played plenty of footy together, and he come up just with a jersey, but he actually played at the footy and knocked it out. So a real inspiring play there from Gibson, and that means the Bay's going to have the ball 40 metres out, centre field scrum, great attacking position.
So Byron really needed a bit of luck to go their way early after conceding a very early try in the second half off the back of a late try in the first half. And they'll be looking to try and at least get it back into level pegging, because they know that they won't get many opportunities like that. Ballina's defence has been on point thus far. This will be Batiste, gets in the hands of Carney. And Carney's just slipped in on his own feet. The ground's still a little bit damp from the early shower we had at the start of this game. So this is going to be played by Dan Gibson from dummy half into the hands of Carney. Just taken up in defence there. This is the 4th phase, about 15 metres out from the Ballina Seagulls line. Batiste gets it in the hands. That's Ben Crawford. This is the 5th and last. They've got a choice of either side here. They go the right side. Batiste goes himself into the hands. That's Malloy, but he's just had too many Ballina bodies onto him, and the Seagulls will have that about 2 metres away from their own line. And
I don't mind that, Dwayne, on tackle 5, because you actually had Crawford and Carney both on this left-hand side of the field. So Batiste looked up, went right, and it was Malloy sort of punching through that hole and come up sort of half a metre short. But that means that Ballina have now got to truck it out of their own end, and the Bay can compress up nice and tight here and really get some line speed.
So for me,
got an error here.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so well picked up there, Crossy, because I thought Byron, the Byron play might have gone a little bit late, but this is going to be another opportunity for the Red Devils to make this a level playing field game. Ballina have done well in past games. As I mentioned, they've kept Byron to single digits out of 5 out of the last 7. Just to iterate, that's back in 2016, 44-6, and as well as the game, 20-6, 22-4, and of course, if you consider the grand final, it's 17-6. So it's almost imperative Byron need to score. Well, I mean, they have to now. They're 12-6 down, but they need to make the most of these opportunities, because for me, Ballina's just not going to give that away too many in this second half.
Mate, even if they can come up with a similar play as they did then and come up with a changeover half a metre out, Stapleman.
Oh, so that's gone begging there. And they know there's a few ex-Ballina Seagulls hands going through. You can hear in the clubhouse area, they've absolutely gone up. They go up tenfold when there's an ex-Ballina player's handed through it, Crossy.
Oh, he'd like his time again there, Stapo. That's a shame. He ran a good line, but he had a bit of a Captain Cook, and it was the bloke we spoke about, Hayden Hansen. He cut Connor Wilson in half in the previous set of 6, and he had a little bit of a sneaky look there, Stapo. So you would like that one again.
And that is a big chance gone begging there for the Byron Bay Red Devils. So this will be now Jamie line to play 10 metres out away from their own line. And that's going to be Kel Sheever to play it from lock.
Just on a positive for the Bay, Dwayne, I really like the combination with Carney and playing Lees out the back. Lees, of course, played for the Trojans last year, had a year playing rugby. I've coached Brad before. He's a mate of mine, he's a really good footballer, and he's slotted straight back into this team. Of course, in the absence of the king, Mitchell Krause, who I can see down on the sideline with the...
That's a big out. I must iterate that. That was, he got injured in that game, I think, from memory, against Kyogle. That was a big out from his one. Because, as I mentioned, just to go back to your point there, Crossy, but when I was having a look at the try scores for Byron, and I said there was only six that scored 2 or more. Dan Gibson being the 4th overall with 5 tries. Krause at number 2 for that team. He scored 4 this year. That's a big loss in attack for the Bay.
Yeah, he's a great attacker, Krause. He is. Oh, that's come off the Bay.
I don't think that was played at Crossy for me, but
No.
we'll see what's called out from Joshy Golland.
Crawford lost sight of it, and it was almost a falcon, so it wasn't really played at. So
No, that's
probably the right result.
Yeah, because he was kind of rolling away from the ball. I think he was more getting away from the sun. I thought the sun's really pointed right at him.
It's not really any different to when we see players just kick the ball into their opposition number and it goes into touch. It's essentially the same thing, but they're just getting back to Krause. That's something that the Bay have really missed. Just his potency in attack and finding a try out of nothing. I can see him down here on the sideline now. He's holding a clipboard and a pen. You wouldn't really know what to do with a clipboard and a pen, Krause, but he certainly knows how to score tries, and he's a great asset for the Byron Bay
So
club.
you're saying that's his apprenticeship? He's being apprentice coach today, or
Possibly.
Yeah. So that's Dylan Montgomery takes that one on the third phase. This will be Batiste. Goes himself, does well, but he's absolutely crunched there by Hayden Hansen. This is Montgomery to play from dummy half on the short side. Finds a hands. That's Brad Lees, is it? Crossy?
That's Gibson,
Sorry,
I think.
Dan Gibson. Bit of a next Ballina connection there. You saw that one goes to the other.
They're going to come left here to Crawford.
That was Batiste. Crawford kicks across the carpet. Kelsheeva will have to do well to get rid of it. And I think he's going to be called there. A line drop out against the Seagulls. Yeah, Shiva had to do well to keep that one there, Crossy.
Oh, the old head Crawford, he's just turning back the clock today. He might be able to run like he used to, but he's still pretty quick between the ears. And he had Carney outside him, which for most clubs would be thinking that that's the go-to man. But Crawford, just a nice little left foot, rolled it in, and Shiva cleaned it up. So the Bay, that's what they need to do, build pressure. They can't win the game here, but they can certainly go a long way to losing it if they keep coming up with silly errors. So I'd like to see him, if nothing else, maybe try to get another repeat set here, Nev.
So that you can see there, Andrew Barsek had a bit of a cramp there in his right thigh, or right hamstring, I dare say. So this is going to be about 50 metres on the fly, well taken there by Todd Carney. And a big barnstorming run on the first phase. And there might have been a spill, there is. That's 2 out of the last 4 sets of 6 that it doesn't get out of the first phase for the Bombay Red Devils. And they're being let known by Yobbo's Hill, you can see there on the screens. And I think the pressure is starting to get to the Devils there, Crossy, just a tad.
Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame for their supporters and for the game in general. I was about to say he just had come off the back fence, Gabe Belcher. He's a strong carrier of the football, but his hands let him down on that occasion, and that's twice now we saw Stapleton come up with an error play one, and now Belcher. So against a team like Ballina, this is what they can't afford.
And it's going to be proven costly if Byron Bay can't get the 2 points today. So they're currently in 6th position after having an impressive start in the first 3 or 4 games of their campaign this season. They lose, they will go down to 8th, and then that's at this point of the season is when we start to tell who's going to rise to the top and who's going to be left pegging down the centre. And just as I say, that Ballina have conceded an attacking penalty the other way. Of course, as I mentioned at the start of this game, Ballina are currently in a 3-way tie for first at this point of time. They will stay there, but they'll be shared with either Casino or Cog, which is the other game being played today in the Beef Week Derby.
It's a bit of a rivalry round this week, Drano. We've got obviously the Battle of the Beaches here today, and
Beef
Week, and then of course Tweed Coast Raiders.
Robbie Lyon told me that last week, that just to put it, to say it's a rivalry is putting it mildly, as I must say. A loss for Ballina will put them down to 2nd, so now we're starting to see who's going to be there around about finals time in the month of June. This is Carney. He's got numbers on the left, but he's not going to get it past Scott Stapleton.
That was good footy.
This is Carney now from dummy half. You get it into the hands of, that's Matt Gallagher. This is now 3rd phase, Batiste. And there's big barraging run. He's probably going to go over there. No, he's going to be held up.
Oh, great defence, Ballina.
And if you have the likes of trying to make out who that is there, Crossing.
That was Lachlan Kennedy. He was going to score for your life there.
Odds on, when he gets past the line, he goes over. But he needed about 4 or 5 Ballina players to stop it. This is 4th phase. Carney, kick. I think he might have been penalty here for holding him off the ball, but I think Josh Golland's going to call that a knock on.
I think they're a bit stiff here, Ballina. That should be playing on.
I think he held him off the ball.
Well, he essentially...
hang on, he's going to go and check with his assistant. I think this might get overturned, Crossy.
He kicked it straight into Lyon, who didn't play with his hands.
So he kicked it, and then he held him off the ball. And this could be overturned. It is. He's handed the ball to Jamie Lyon. So yeah, as you can see, Todd Carney was holding the player off the ball. But he's called that, nevertheless, it's Ballina ball.
Yeah, well, Carney kicked it exactly into the torso of Lyon, who didn't play with it with his hands. It was play onto there, and then, if anything, it could have been a Seagulls penalty. So I think the Byron crowd are going up here. They feel a little bit ripped off. However, I think that's a fair call for mine.
Yeah, I agree. This is Michael Dwayne into the hands of Hayden Hansen. As I said, he was a late. He was 11th hour pick up there from the Burleigh Bears. This is Michael Dwayne. Michael Dwayne goes himself.
Regan.
He's got help on the right side. He's got Regan into the hands of Regan. Ballina's going to go over and now extend their lead into the corner. And you'd think at any point of this game, it will be Oliver Regan, 2 at the extras, off the back of a pass from Michael Dwayne. 16-6, Ballina Seagulls up.
Oh, and that's a shame for the Bay, but terrific play from the Seagulls. Michael Dwayne, we've seen him sort of transition between sort of centre and back row and a bit of hooker this year. I remember we called that game early in the year and he was playing in the centres, and you and I both said it'd be great to see him a bit closer to the action, and that's exactly why. I mean, he just cut them through the middle, and like any good fullbacks do, Oliver Regan, you could see from about 50 metres out that was going to be a try to Regan. He just loomed up in support and got the Seagulls. They extend their lead now, and the Bay, they're going to be it's going to be uphill from here.
And he sort of had that vibe going into London Cross. He was very much tit for tat about 30 minutes in, and as you made one point and I made another point, and they both kind of met in the middle, where you said that Ballina just click it into gear coming into the last 20 minutes, and Byron just, I wouldn't say put the cue in the rack. I would say that's probably maybe a bit unfair, but I think they're kind of a bit down on like personnel. Like their 1-17 isn't perfect on any given day, but then when they start having a few injuries, which they had, and they've only got the likes of the Kennedy, well, I think it was Kyle Kennedy that was out. He was out injured.
Aidan Kennedy's out. He's down here on the sideline. He's a big loss for them.
So they start looking at their reserves, and they're going to find it really hard to take on a Ballina team, which I mentioned at the start had 16 players that have scored 2 or more points. Sorry, 2 or more tries. And you'd think now, and as Lyon sends that one over, got the distance, he's got the accuracy, adds it now to 18 points to 6, courtesy of Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all the betting action. Of course, gamble responsibly. As I mentioned, Crossy, I just starting to get a feel that this might start getting a little bit one-sided, whilst Byron were right in front of this, towards the end of the game. Then all it took was just one ill-disciplined penalty towards the end of the first half, and it's let Ballina right into the gates.
Yeah, it's a shame, and I think that's one thing, unfortunately, for Byron Bay. Their response to adversity hasn't been great, probably in the last couple of years, as we see an error.
So let's see what comes out of that. So Ballina has just handed this one back to Byron Bay, and then you can see there on the left side there's a player there clutching at his arm. Who is that, Crossy? I can't make out the number.
I'm not sure either.
Is that Brad Lees?
We've got some players in front of us here, so we can't exactly see. Yeah, someone's holding their shoulder there.
So just to...
Lees is up and about.
So as we had to check on that, and that looks like it's a nasty shoulder injury there.
I think it could be Gabe Belcher.
That's a big loss. That's their other attacking winger. It's Oliver Regan. So Ollie Regan is another ex-Burleigh Bears and Redcliffe Intrust Super Cup rep. He's also played a bit of second division in Brisbane.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it earlier. Ollie Regan had just slipped straight into any Queensland Cup team to do a job. That's the quality of the player. As the Bay are going to have an attacking set here. Last time they had the ball down in this position, Dwayne, we saw long pass from Batiste, long pass from Crawford, and same with Carney. So they
need to score, and pretty soon, and it might come off this play there, Crossy. So this is now be played by Batiste. Into the hands, that is Crawford. Kind of hesitated there, but then gets into the hands of Carney.
Numbers.
And he's got numbers on the right. This could potentially be game back on for the Bombay Red Devils.
Oh, great defence.
And last second defence there by the Ballina Seagulls. They do well to keep him off the corner. And let's see what comes out of this. Ballina there forced the error.
Oh, that's a shame. Chad North, what a tackle. He come in there.
Had to be made.
Had to be made. Dan Gibson was going to score for all money. And Chad North come in to help his other far side centre there, which is must have been Liam Anderson.
So let's see what Ballina could do. They're really starting to get into fifth gear now at 18 points to 6.
And that was the point I was going to make earlier, Dwayne, was the Bay haven't been great at sort of overcoming adversity. They sort of felt a bit hard done by there with the Jamie Lyon, knock on or not knock on.
True.
And then all of a sudden they're sort of whinging between themselves and talking to the ref, and then Michael Dwayne just cuts holes in them and Regan scores. So they really need to switch on. It's only those key moments that's separating sort of a team like the Seagulls, who are leading the comp, and someone like the Bay, who are sitting sort of outside the 5.
So now this is going to be taken by Michael Dwayne. Oh, absolutely crushing hit by the Bombay Red Devils. And doesn't amount for much other than gifting away a penalty.
Well, that was Gibson. It was a great shot, but I think he might have been called for being offside.
Well, there you go. That was an absolute massive hit there by Dan Gibson, but it could also prove to be costly as Jamie Lyon sends that downtown. He's going to have it about 30 metres out from the Byron Bay line. This will be now played by Liam Anderson. Liam Anderson, he's another player for Ballina, hasn't really been involved as much as he usually has. Him and Reece Richards, if they got more hand on the ball, then this score could really be anything for the Ballina Seagulls.
Well, I guess they do sit on their left side, and obviously Jamie Lyon plays on the right, so that's the go-to side.
That's Hansen.
This is danger here for the Bay, Dwayne. They've really got to hold their nerve in defence.
So this is Lyon back into Michael Dwayne. He's basketball passes that one into Jess Perry. Cut out pass. Well taken there, but I think he's handed it right back into the Ballina Seagulls. And that is gone right into the corner. That is Anthony Coleman. That could be a double for Anthony Coleman.
Oh, Coleman, the try sneak. He's in for his second.
Out of nowhere, like a thief for the night, Anthony Coleman is going to extend that lead even further now for the Ballina Seagulls. And as you can see there, 22 points to 6 on the Ladbrokes scoreboard. And this could almost be good night, Irene, with about 20 minutes left in the second half.
Oh, I feel sorry there for Gabe Belcher. He did a great job. He got up in the passing lane there and he come up with the intercept. It was a great take, but Anthony Coleman, he's such an underrated player. And he's a try sneaker, as I mentioned. He just come up with a one-on-one steal and was good enough to use that good leg power that he's got and got over. And that pushes Ballina further out. And as we spoke about at half-time, off camera, we were very concerned about what the Bay might sort of throw up in the second half. And unfortunately for their Red Devils fans out there, that's now starting to ring true. And they're going to be down now by 24 points to 6.
So Anthony Coleman, that's his second try in this game against, which is also now his second lot of double tries, as I mentioned, 2 against Kyle at the start of the year in what was 40, I think it was 40 degrees that day in the first round of the 2018 campaign. So Jamie Lyon will send this one, looking to add the extras. And sends that one over. And unlucky on this occasion, still now remain 22 points to 6. The Seagulls over the Byron Bay Red Devils here at Kingston Smith Park of the Battle of the Beaches here in round 8 of the NRRRL.
22-6, isn't it, Dwayne? I think the scoreboard attendant preempted that Jamie Lyon is a very, very good kicker.
Maybe put the curse on Jamie Lyon on that occasion.
I think so. He might have. He's spent more time playing golf than practicing his kicking by the looks of it, Jamie Lyon, on that occasion.
There's a few of his golf buddies there in the stands today. So, and I think that one's gone on the full. So they're just starting to implode now, the Bombay Red Devils there, Crossy. They look like they were basically going in as warm favourites from about the 30-minute mark, and now you wouldn't think this was the same team, and that's just basically been their season, Crossy. They've just played well for the first 30 minutes of every game, and they're just, as I said, the top 4 teams, the usual top 4 teams, that they just rise to the top against them, and it's just. And I think, what do you think it could be, Crossy? You reckon it could be like personnel, as I mentioned about 5 minutes ago?
I mentioned it before. There's been a real struggle, and even when I was there, just sort of attitude of guys sort of overcome adversity. Like not letting go of key moments that we saw with Lyon. There's a good shot from Kennedy. It's a shoulder charge.
And okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. This is going to now be afters. Montgomery's just run in, and this is what... Let's see what comes out of this, Crossy. I think there's going to be a few people march from this, Crossy. I think Dylan Montgomery's in big trouble. He was third man in.
Well, Dylan Montgomery come off the back fence. It was like a rampaging bull.
He was basically from the try line, and that's on the 30-metre line. And I reckon Montgomery's in big trouble.
Well, let's just break this down, though, Dwayne. We had a penalty for a shoulder charge against a Bombay player, which I think was Lachlan Kennedy. Now, then Hayden Hansen come in and actually, technically he's the third man in, essentially. So he's got to go. So he'll be going for 10. And then Montgomery will obviously he's the next man in, so he'll be going for 10 as well. So let's see what else referee Josh. So
this could potentially be, it's going to be at least 13 on 12. Or it could potentially be 13-11 or 12-11 against Byron Bay here. They're definitely going to have one off for me. Now we'll see what Josh Golan and his assistants come out of this. So with that being said, we don't want to see this in the game, Crossy, but we can't say that this wasn't expected.
No, not at all. It's probably taken longer than we thought.
It's only taken about 55, 60 minutes in.
Yeah, we'd like to see players stay, but by the letter of the law, Hansen will have to go. Or was it Jordan?
So there's Jamie Lyon. So that's Hayden Hansen, number 13.
Yeah, so Hansen will have to go because he was third man in, and then
that's him gone.
That's what we'll see. And now we'll see Montgomery called out, and he'll have to go as well.
And listen to Yobos Hill and the clubhouse here, where if we expect it, Dylan Montgomery gets his marching orders down the sheds, he's going to hear every sound. So there's Carney. So who's that there, Crossy? That's Brad.
That's Kane Montgomery, rather.
So that's then the brother of Dylan Montgomery.
So now here comes Dylan.
And you can actually hear it there. You can't see it here, but you can hear it. This should be Montgomery gone as well. He stays. Dylan Montgomery stays.
No, I'm happy with that from referee Josh Golan. Very experienced referee. Let's keep it 12 on 12, and the Seagulls have a shot at goal.
Okay. So
I just got a message, Dwayne, from a good mate and ex-Byron Bay player, Bill Lowry. Bill, good to have you tuning into the live stream, mate. He just said to us, that was $1.10 for that to happen. And
$1.10.
I think those odds
I reckon those
$1.10,
yeah. I was just about to say $1.10 might be a bit generous. You'd think you'd have wing sides on that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and as we saw, Kane Montgomery just come through the tunnel here, the former Ballina player, won grand finals with Ballina, and he come through here and got a very rousing reception from the Ballina contingent up in the clubhouse here. So
this will be Jamie Lyon. You think just as much odds to get the extras here to make this 24 points to 6, and you look at the faces of the Byron Bay players, they sort of know it now that this one is starting to slip away. Lyon sends that one over, and it's easy to in front of the sticks. Dustin now making it. Ballina Seagulls up 24 points to 6 here at Kingford Smith Park in Ballina, as you get proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for your betting information. Download the iPhone or Android apps. Gamble responsibly.
Well, let's see what happens off this kickoff, Dwayne. We're gonna have Kennedy and Montgomery side by side. I'm assuming they're going to kick down here to is that Crosby?
Yes, I believe so.
I know Batista's lining it up the other way, but we could see some more fireworks here shortly.
So we're in the last quarter of this contest here. You can hear none of these Byron Bay supporters to our left here have left, and they still go up in vocal support on each hit up. That's Kel Shiva, and he's got Dylan Montgomery there. He's not gonna go easy on him there by any stretch there, being his ex-teammate. This is Michael Dwayne, and you can tell they're just a bit desperate now in defence there, the Byron Bay Red Devils.
Yeah, they've got to keep competing hard here, the Bay.
So this is Kel Shiva from dummy half. Every time there's a hit up, the crowd from the Byron Bay Red Devils support, it just goes up just that little bit more vocal. This is Michael Dwayne. And Jamie Killerline sends that one downtown. And that goes into the hands. That's Bradley's. And he's met there by Phil Crosby on the first phase. Batiste. And that is brought down the tackle there by Jordan Lee. Batiste now on the third phase. Montgomery. Reece Richards tries to go the legs, go around the waist there of Montgomery.
It's a bit of a mismatch for size, isn't it? Richards on Montgomery.
But he's done well.
Geez, he did well.
I think for me, Richards has been more busy in defence and attack. He does both really well, but you'd think he'd be just that. He just needs to have the more ball for me. He probably had the ball maybe, well, at least I can see about 3 or 4 times all game. And not that now they're in any danger of Ballina Seagulls, but you think he gets his hands on the ball, because scoring could really be anything. So this will be Ollie Regan now to take it. And it's
safe as a bank.
Yeah. So he's taken down there 20 metres away from the Ballina line. This will be Jamie Lyon to play from dummy half. That is Reece Richards. Does well. As you can see there, that's why you would want to see him have more ball. He just gets about 15, 20 metres off the fly there, Reece Richards. This is Kel Shiva to play from dummy half. He's going to be brought down by Batiste and as well as Lachlan Kennedy. This is now Michael Dwayne. As the Suns...
He didn't play that.
So, yeah, so they've just done a little crossy error there, the Ballina Seagulls, as the sun sets down here on this game. And you can have a look at the body language of the Bombay Red Devils. They're just... The wind is taken out of them.
Well, Dwayne, I think it's really important for the Red Devils here to have a positive finish. I mean, at the moment, what are we, 24-6? You know, you could argue that scoreline doesn't reflect the closeness of the game. However, it is what it is, and that's the tale of the tape so far. So the Red Devils would like to pull a couple back here and just make this a bit closer, because this is a really important game for their season. Obviously, by the looks of it, they're not going to get the win today. So they're going to remain outside that top 5. Ballina are going to sort of skip further in front.
And I made mention in last week's call too, that being Kyle versus Morris Brothers, because they do have Morris Brothers next week. And I was basically saying that whilst Morris Brothers have only had the one win, if Morris Brothers played the way they did against Kyle last week, Byron could be in danger, to putting that one in the win column too.
That's great defence from Richards. That's again your man, Reece Richards.
So this is now played by Batiste from dummy half. That's Crawford. Sorry, that's... Ooh. Whether that's played or not, there's another thing. So there's very little numbers in defence there for the Bombay Red Devils. That tackle had to be made, Crossy, because he was away there on the first base.
And it was Coleman again.
That's going to be Durheim.
Anderson could be away.
Very light on the left side there, Crossy. This could really put this one to bed. That's Liam Anderson. He does well, goes himself, Liam Anderson. Only has there Dan Gibson to beat. But he's well brought down. There's still sixes and sevens in defence. Perry plays a short side, gets into the hands of Crosby. That's Oliver Regan for a second in the corner. That is now, thank you and good night for the Bombay Red Devils, 28-6.
Oh, they just haven't had the bounce today, the Red Devils, and sometimes you have those days. They're going to look back on today and go, geez, how did we end up 30-6? But it's about to be with a kick to come. But again, just the class of this Ballina team. Coleman picks up a loose ball, has a presence of mind not to force a pass, but rather take a tackle. And then they went shift to that left edge and found Anderson. Really good attitude and scrambling there from Todd Carney and Brad Lees at the back, but didn't have enough guys get in behind the ball and come up with a tackle on that next play. And Ollie Regan, if anyone deserves a try, it's the Ballina fullback.
So as I made mention, it has just been, as the tail of the tape going in as far as try stats go, the majority of this Ballina score, which basically shows that they don't just rely on a couple of players or a few players to get the jobs, to get the points. They had 16 players in this current squad who scored at least two or more, and now that is now another one where they've had two in the bank. Of course, being the other one being, who was it, Anthony Coleman.
And let's not forget too, they lost Nicholas Ritter in the first sort of 5 minutes, who I believe is their main front rower, and he's a key part to their attacking prowess in respect to that middle third, moving the ball either that left or right edge. So he's a big loss as well, so don't underestimate the impact he would have had today.
So now this is going to be kicked by Jamie Lyon to really put this one to bed now for the Ballina Seagulls when we're about You can see there on the screen we're about 5 minutes and change. We've had a few stoppages, so you could probably add an extra couple of minutes, but it's not really going to matter for much for the Bombay Red Devils. As you can see there, Jamie Lyon does add the extras, thus now making it 30 points to 6. So that is 24 unanswered points now for the Ballina Seagulls. Whilst they went in, once again, Byron were looking pretty positive, taking a 6-0 lead into the sheds. So as you may have mentioned there about 10 minutes ago, that it does not reflect the effort that Byron has put in today, but nevertheless, Ballina have just always do it in the last 20 minutes of each campaign. And as we already knew once this season, when they took on the Casino Cougars. So that's taken up by Barsak. And so that was, I didn't let that one to be Kyle Kennedy getting involved there. So this is going to be taken up by Kel Shiva just around the head there. And Joshy Golan there has called it as such.
He plays well above his weight, Kel Shiva. He's still eligible for under 20s, and he's playing against some big boys here today, and he doesn't shirk it. And that's Lachlan Kennedy. He's been inspiring for the Red Devils in this latter part of the second half with his physicality in defence.
So this is Michael Dwayne, gets it into the hands of Jordan Lee. Byron, for me, Crossy, I just think it's been more so their discipline more than, well, probably maybe a little bit from Colin May and Colin B being from fatigue, but you can see the effort is just there for the Bay. They're just still reading the defence well. Of course, like with the exception of that last play where they were just caught napping, but they're still looking to be thereabouts. And that kick's just gone a little bit too deep there for the Seagulls. So Byron will have it about 20 metres out from their own line.
Well, sometimes, Dwayne, in footy, whether you're playing or coaching, you can feel like you're so close, but yet you're so far away. And I think today, that's how Todd Carney and the rest of the Byron Bay coaching staff, Mick Foster, would feel. They'd feel that they were well in this. And I think on the flip side, Ballina will come off, and we hope to have a chat with Jamie Lyon and Todd Carney after the game. And I'll be sure to find out from Lyon, how the team felt after that, because it's been quite a physical encounter, and one that could well take its toll on the team physically. But for the Bay, they must just feel like they're looking at the scoreboard thinking, how is this 30-6? And really, as we touched on during the call, sometimes it's just little moments in games. It's the little things that can make the big difference. And at the moment, the big difference is the scoreline. But it's only the little moments in games that have sort of let themselves down. So I hope for their sake they can finish this game off well.
So that's nicely taken the tackle there by Jordan Lee. 20 metres out from the Byron Lions. It's Montgomery. And you can hear every time that Montgomery, Batiste, or Dan Gibson have had this ball, Yobbo's Hill has just gone that extra little bit vocal. The kick is going to find the 30-metre line there for the Ballina Seagulls. And I think both teams are now just looking to wind it down.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are happy to put the cue in the rack now. They've all had enough. The results beyond doubt. Just looking to get through to next week injury-free and build on for Ballina, build on what they've done today. And what I really like about this Ballina team is it's just their resolve and not going away, just happy to get in the arm wrestle, play end-to-end footy, just grind and just wait for the opportunities to come. Whereas I feel with Byron Bay at times, they tend to force the error a little bit too much and just not show enough patience. So I'm sure that's something that Coach Todd Carney will be looking to address.
So as I may mention, Ballina will then go on to play at Crozier Oval next week against Northern United. They should keep at the top pointy end of this table. They'll be shared with either Casino or Kyogle. The winner of that game will then join them. So you can hear the Byron supporters around as they call for a penalty, or at least for an infringement. I think they're going to get it too, Crossy. Yeah,
a little bobble from Shiva in the tackle there. So the Bay will get a chance. I mean, what are we looking at the time here? We're
about a couple of minutes late, yeah.
Yeah, so let's hope the Red Devils can get across the stripe here and just claw back that lead slightly.
So now be a scrum feed now. Ben Crawford will now play it. They're about 35 metres away from their own line. So they'll be looking for a consolation try to take into next week's clash against the Maris brothers. And they'll be wanting to get back on the home turf. They've had 3 games on the road. And they'll be wanting to get back onto Donny's Hill there, Crossy.
Yeah, Donny's Hill. It's one of the great places at Red Devil Park. So Let's hope they can fill it. And look, Dwayne, that's a game. Fast forward into next week. That's a game they have to win
to have a chance now at top 5.
Yeah, mate. They've got to win next week. They've got to put this behind them today. You know, physically and emotionally, this would have taken a lot out of them today. But they've got to dust themselves off and come up with a good performance next week in a game that they must win.
So Carney got someone to get it for the hands. It just, with this going to be, that's well collected there by Liam Anderson. That should have been, that could potentially be Byron Bay's last set of 6. I'll probably get one more at most. Our clocks here say 40 minutes on here, but we're now heading into injury time. We'll probably get them in another couple of minutes from the stoppages we had, of course, with that scuffle. So Ballina, they don't need to do anything more. They know they've got this one won. And big barraging run. So Byron is still showing some intensity. This is going to be taken up by Mitch Herford. He's spilt that one back. That should be a knock-on. So Byron should get this one back now, about 40 metres away from their own line.
Kane Montgomery's in all sorts out here. Sorry, Dwayne.
So this is going to be taken on the second phase.
Kane Montgomery needs to come here. He doesn't know where he is.
So he's only just come back on from having that spell for that scuffle before. Isn't that correct there, Crossy?
Yeah, he's just come back on. He plays with his heart on his sleeve, Monty, and he's got to come for HIA.
Which basically means his day is done. So that's Montgomery now, Dylan Montgomery. So he'll probably get a vocal support of a better kind at the end of this one. You'd think though these loyal Ballina supporters there on Yabos Hill will once this battle is done, or the Battle of the Beaches, they will pay respects to their ex-players. They know they've won them plenty of grand finals over the years, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So Carney kicks that one. It's going to find Kel Sheaver. Well read there by Kel Sheaver in defence.
Great effort from Sheaver.
So they're 10 metres away now from the Ballina line. This is going to be played by Jamie Lyon. A nice little hit and spin. He's going to be greeted there by Matt Gallagher in defence. And that's Regan.
He's got spiders on him, Ollie Regan.
So basically the story of this one, it's been a bit of a history lesson that if you have your bogey teams and then you have Byron and you have Ballina, and that's just another kind of bogey team. This will be now 10-1-1 record in Ballina's favour in the contest since 2013.
Yeah, that's pretty damning, isn't it? But look, I think one thing that the Bay can take away today, and Todd Carney in particular can take away, that they're good enough to beat this team. They've just got to get their discipline right, and the little key moments in games where there's some lapses or guys looking for the big hit as opposed to just trying to wrap the footy and make their tackles. As we go wide with Gibson.
That's Gibson. Gibson wants to score one on his former home turf. Isn't going to eventuate.
And I know, Dwayne, that we're in sort of probably the 78th or 79th minute here, but what the play we just saw then, that epitomises where they're at, unfortunately. You know, again, the game's not on the line here now, so make of that what you will. However, even if it's in the 35th minute or the 42nd minute, or the 55th minute, they're the sort that they're trying to score off every play rather than build pressure. And if you look at Ballina, Byron could do much worse than actually look at what Ballina do, just by build pressure and wait for their opportunities rather than to force the issue. And I think if I'm Todd Carney, that's the message I'm trying to get through to the players from this point forward.
So as the scrum feed goes down, this should be the last set of 6 in this contest. So it's Liam Anderson. He's the Matt there, and his opposite number there, and Scott Stapleton, who was also, whilst being a Byron Bay junior for many years, and that's gonna be it. Yabos Hill and the Ballina Seagulls rejoice, and they are once again got another chalk on the board in the Battle of the Beaches, and it is Jamie Lyon's team that will rejoice today. As you can see there on the scoreboard, Ballina Seagulls, after 24 answered points, take this one out 30 points to 6. Crossy, what was the debrief on the game?
Yeah, like I just touched on, I think for the Bay, they've got to take their medicine after today and know that, first of all, they're not that far off. I mean,
they're not. No, they're really not.
They've got a good footy team. They've got a good forward pack. They've got, obviously, a very classy half in Todd Carney. And they've got some guys like young Connor Wilson and say Scotty Stapo out in the centres that can score tries when they need to. But they've just got to have more ball control, better discipline, and they're a much better team than 30-6.
And you can see there, you probably can't see it on the screens here, but I can see it just out here, the loyal Yabos Hill supporters there. Well, they're not doing a Tweed Coast Raider march like we saw in last year's grand final, but they're slowly just coming onto the field. They'll pay rejoice to their mob today, and you'd think, you've got to give a pat on the back for the likes of Dan Gibson, Batiste. You probably can't see it here, but there's Batiste He's back on his home. Well, you can say, well, they're still reside at Ballina. They will now give them the send-off that they need as well. They deserve.
Yeah, they're all good mates. You know, that's the great thing about country footy. You know, they'll all catch up after the game and have a beer, and they'll play nice and tough on the field. But then everyone's mates off the field. So that's a great thing about it.
What a contest at the Battle of the Beaches. Certainly had the electricity, which we had to expect. They will then meet again at Red Devil Park at the end of this season. Crossy, who did you like in the man of match?
Well, I seem to say it every time I call Ballina, but Oliver Regan I thought was outstanding, as was Michael Dwayne.
I think also Anthony Coleman for me.
Yeah, he's such an underrated player. I keep saying underrated because he's one of those blokes that you tend not to sort of notice too much, and then you look at his stats, and he's run for 225 metres, and he's had 2 tries and 44 tackles. That's the sort of player he is. He just does his work. So those 3 for mine.
And let me ask from your perspective too, Crossy. You've been on the coach against, for the Bombay Red Devils, and at this very ground of grand finals and whatnot. How does it feel seeing it from another perspective here in the commentary box?
Yeah, it's a bit easier watching it up here with no allegiances to either team. Obviously, Byron Bay through and through, but Jamie Lyon's a good mate of mine, and as I said before, obviously blokes like Ant Coleman that I've coached. So no allegiance for me, but look, I see really good upside in the Bay, and I see Ballina. They've still got plenty more in them as well, which I think is a scary thought for the rest of the competition.
So that will put Ballina still back on top of the table. It will be shared for another week as we wait to find out the result between Casino and Kyle. Crossy, absolute pleasure once again having you in the box for the big one here today. And bring on the next week of football.
You too, Nev, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. And it's great to see the NRRRL is really ramping up with some good games of footy, and the promotion of 2 ex-NRL players here today was outstanding. So congratulations to everyone.
Full time here at Kingford Park. It is Jamie Lyons, Ballina Seagulls, getting another one on the board in the Battle of the Beaches. They have gone up 30 points to the Bombay Red Devils 6. For the team of the NRRRL, Mark Goff, Media Sports, Nathan Cross, I'm Dwayne Neville. Absolute pleasure of giving you the live stream. Proudly sponsored by Ladbrokes as always. Head over to ladbrokes.com.au for all the betting information. Download the app today and gamble responsibly. We'll be back with you next week for more NRRRL action for round 9. Until then, have a good night.